You whisper their name into an empty room, begging for a sign. Suddenly, a familiar scent fills the air, or their favorite song starts playing out of nowhere. Your heart races. Is your grieving mind playing tricks on you, or are they actually standing right beside you? What our departed loved ones can truly see from heaven might completely change everything you believe about the afterlife. This deeply human question isn't just a fleeting curiosity. It is the very anchor we cling to when navigating the crushing weight of loss. Knowing whether they witness your quiet tears or celebrate your hardest-won milestones is the difference between finding profound peace and drowning in endless despair. Every single day, millions dismiss these unexplainable encounters as mere grief-fueled coincidences. But if the veil between our world and theirs is actually thinner than we've been taught, the implications are staggering. For generations, we have been handed a very specific, traditional picture of life after death. We are told that heaven is a distant, untouchable paradise, miles above the clouds and firmly separated from the daily struggles of our earthly existence. The standard comfort offered at almost every memorial is that our departed loved ones are resting in perfect peace, entirely removed from the pain of this world. We are conditioned to believe that when the physical body fails, the line of communication completely severs, leaving us to navigate the remainder of our lives alone. It is a neat, tidy narrative that helps society compartmentalize death. Yet, in the quiet, unguarded moments of our deepest grief, something happens that shatters this absolute finality. A sudden, inexplicable scent of their favorite cologne in an empty hallway. A radio flickering to that specific song at the exact second you need it most. We brush these off as mere coincidences, the desperate tricks of a grieving mind trying to cope. But what if we have been looking at the afterlife entirely wrong? The unspoken reality, a truth spiritual scholars, theologians, and near-death survivors have quietly insisted upon for decades, is that the veil between their world and ours isn't an impenetrable wall. It is incredibly, shockingly thin. Heaven isn't a distant galaxy. It is an overlapping dimension. Death doesn't sever the connection. It simply changes the frequency. They aren't resting in blind, deaf isolation. They are actively witnessing our daily lives, sitting beside us in the dark, and constantly reaching through the static to prove they never actually left. But here is the chilling thought that stops most people in their tracks. If they are right here, witnessing every single moment, doesn't that mean they see our deepest agonies? Do they watch us weep on the bathroom floor? Do they witness the mistakes, the profound regrets, the dark secrets we desperately thought died with them? Suddenly, the idea of an eternal audience feels less comforting and more terrifying. If heaven is devoid of pain, how can they bear to watch us suffer? This is where the greatest misunderstanding lies, the hidden truth that completely rewrites how we view their presence. They do not see us through human eyes anymore. When the physical body is shed, the lens entirely shifts. They are not helplessly trapped as invisible bystanders to your suffering, burdened by earthly anxiety. They do not watch you with panic or pity. Instead, they view the absolute totality of your timeline. They see the exact purpose behind your devastating heartbreak. They see the triumphant ending you cannot yet comprehend. What feels like unbearable, chaotic tragedy to you, they instantly recognize as the precise forge shaping your eternal soul. Yet, society conditions us to approach our connection to them with such paralyzing limitation. We are taught to mourn by clinging to the past, keeping their earthly identity frozen in time. We stand at gravesides agonizing over our perceived failures, whispering our lingering guilt as if they are still bound by human grudges and petty resentments. This conventional way of grieving carries a fatal flaw. It treats the departed as if they are merely invisible humans, still shackled by the exact same emotional constraints and biases they had before they died. By desperately trying to maintain a relationship with who they were, we completely blind ourselves to who they have become. They are no longer bogged down by earthly ego, disappointment, or judgment. While you waste years agonizing over an unresolved argument or a final goodbye you missed, they have already transcended it entirely. They aren't waiting for your earthly apology. They are waiting for you to elevate your awareness so you can finally receive the enlightened, limitless guidance they are actively trying to hand you. This is the ultimate, unspoken secret of the spiritual realm, a profound, unfair advantage hiding right beneath the weight of your sorrow, because they now exist entirely outside the rigid confines of time and space. Your departed loved ones possess a divine vantage point over your entire life's trajectory. They aren't just passively observing you from afar. They are actively orchestrating synchronicities, subtly placing the exact right people in your path, and whispering sharp intuition into your mind moments before you make critical decisions. They have become your most powerful spiritual advocates. But here is the stark, urgent reality. The dense, heavy frequency of agonizing grief acts as an impenetrable barrier of static. By staying trapped in the trauma of their physical absence, you are unintentionally blocking the very divine intervention they are desperately trying to deliver. You are actively missing out on the highest level of protection and guidance you could ever possess. But breaking through that dense static requires confronting the most terrifying trap of all your own rational mind. The very second a miracle occurs, a sudden rush of warmth, an undeniable whisper in a completely empty room, your intellect violently steps in to dismantle it. You are fighting a deep, unspoken addiction to the physical evidence of pain. We desperately cling to our suffering because the agony feels like the last tangible bridge we have left to them. To let go of that crushing devastation feels like a second death, a profound betrayal of their memory. So, you build an impenetrable fortress of logic, dismissing their frantic, beautiful attempts to reach you as the mere hallucinations of a broken heart. You demand earthly, material proof from a celestial dimension, actively slamming the door in their face. To truly see them, you must surrender the very sorrow you think is keeping them close, which leaves you standing at a terrifying precipice. Stepping off that edge requires the ultimate act of spiritual rebellion, choosing to trust the unseen over the undeniable ache of the physical. You must let the agony die so the true connection can actually live. The moment you drop the heavy armor of your grief and stop demanding they exist within earthly boundaries, the static instantly clears. This is when the profound awakening occurs. You finally realize that the sudden, familiar scent filling the air or that perfectly timed song on the radio were never the desperate illusions of a broken mind. They were the literal mechanics of heaven bleeding into earth. You whispered their name into the dark, begging for a sign. Terrified you were entirely alone. But the breathtaking reality is that the room was never empty. They didn't just hear your whisper. They were the warm presence standing right beside you, gently urging you to speak. What they see from their celestial vantage point isn't a tragic ending, but the indestructible, eternal thread binding your souls together. Death did not sever your bond. It simply removed its limits. They are not patiently waiting for you in the afterlife. They are walking beside you, right now, in this one. So the next time the room goes quiet and a sudden, inexplicable peace washes over your heavy heart, do not brush it away. Lean into it. Speak back to it. That is them, reaching directly across the veil, wrapping you in an embrace that requires no physical arms. The ultimate truth of the afterlife is that love is the one frequency that cannot be destroyed. It is the unbreakable tether that absolutely defies time, space, and mortality. The highest tribute you can pay to those who have crossed over is not to spend the rest of your days paralyzed by their physical absence, but to step forward boldly, fully aware that you have a divine audience guiding your every triumph. You are entirely surrounded by their light. If you have ever experienced an undeniable sign from someone you deeply miss, share your story in the comments below, because your profound encounter might be the exact lifeline another grieving soul desperately needs to read today. To continue uncovering the unseen truths of the spiritual realm, subscribe to our channel and keep your heart open to the beautiful signs they leave for you.